Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Munga. And it's almost like Manchester United and Europa League and Spanish clubs have a contract which says Manchester United will only and always play a Spanish club all around. They just beat Real Betis in the round of 16. In the quarterfinals, they're going to play Sevilla. And there is hopefully, and that's the end of the journey. But then that's almost also sometimes the end of the journey for Manchester United, which is really more sad because they always lose to a Spanish team. And yeah, Sevilla has not been one of those teams which, like, United has fared well with. So Manchester United. So yesterday, the Europa League draw. Of course, a lot of draws yesterday. Champions League draw, Europa League draw, and the Conference League draw as well happening. Do check out the weather video that I did earlier today for the Champions League. This is a reaction for the draw for the Europa League that we see right now. So let's walk through it. Juventus playing Sporting, Manchester United playing again. In a way. Manchester United playing Sevilla, and Bayer Leverkusen playing Union Saint. It's a sister club of Brighton, and they're doing really well in their own league, in the Belgium league. And it's a return of last year's final. And it's a repeat of last season's Europa Conference League final, I would say. Feyenoord versus Roma. Jose Mourinho is just amazing. There is a possibility that Roma will play Manchester United in the final, but there is also a possibility that Roma will not, and it might be a German team, or anything can happen. As I said earlier as well, I will do a prediction video closer to the kickoff time, or closer to when the games get started. The final of the Europa League is happening in Budapest, in Prague, in Budapest, in the final in Hungary, on 31st of May. The semi-final will be played between 11th of May and 18th of May. The final is scheduled for 31st of May in Budapest. The Champions League final is on the 10th of June. That's going to happen in Istanbul. And that's kind of it's mouth-watering. These games are like so. It's amazing to watch this, actually, the kind of the way it's set up. Juventus definitely are the favorites playing Sporting, but you have to understand how they won. Sporting won against Arsenal, who are the dominant team in the Premier League right now. And the way they won it, that was even better. That the way that the conviction of this team to kind of go and win in penalties, but the way they scored the goal, Arsenal was dominating, and they come up with the woodlocks to kind of win this game. That was amazing to watch. But of course, there's a big Dybala factor, Vlahovic, Di Maria. Then you have a possible return of Paul Pogba. Will he start? Will he not? Allegri, what will he do? How will they're not been doing domestically really well? And that's kind of one of those things, right? It's been domestically after the 15 point deduction because of the scandal and the chaos and the reports that came of corruption and the irregularities in the club, the way the club was run, so that's been affecting on and off the pitch for Juventus. Sporting, on the other hand, have had a clean season. They're doing really well with Arsenal as well. They won the way they won. Manchester United definitely with Sevilla, with the way they went against Real Betis. It was nice to see that. It's really nice to see that. Sevilla, obviously, you have to remember Sevilla defeated United 2-1 in a single leg semi-final in the 2019-2020 competition, when en route to their most recent Europa League title win. That's when Sevilla won the league as well. And that's kind of one of those things with Manchester United. How do you feel? Of course, Sampaoli is there, and he's done an amazing job. And you know, Manchester United are under Erik ten Hag have revitalized, but of course, nobody can forget the drubbing that they had against Liverpool. On the other hand, Feyenoord versus Roma, that's a very interesting game to even, you know, think, because both of them kind of tried, or of course, the Dutch team has been struggling in some ways, Feyenoord, but then, you know, it's Jose Mourinho. There's Jose Mourinho. Anything can happen. He's already kind of taken a pun at Lazio, who won last season, and they've said that, you know, it is funny that they'll have to move the trophy from Florence. So that's kind of interesting, a dig at the rivals in the Italian league right now for Roma. Bayer Leverkusen has slowly and steadily kind of been, they've always done good in these leagues in the way, but then have never, but where they fall short is the semifinals generally. And you know, of course, it's one of those things with Union Saint-Gilloise. They have a breakout season. They're in the quarterfinals. The possibility and the belief for they're on the underdogs always in the champion, but then in the Europa League. But then anything can happen here. All eyes are definitely on Paul Pogba as well to return for Juventus if Juventus go through in the semifinals and Manchester United make through this in the quarterfinal and move into the semifinals. So Juventus, Manchester United semifinal would be also interesting with Paul Pogba and the dynamics there, and you know, it's almost like these clubs a couple of years back were fighting in the Champions Leagues, but then now they're in the Europa League. So that calls a transition for them, and you know, the way they need to rebuild and so on and so forth. And that's the exciting part of it as well, to see these clubs kind of trying to resurrect themselves from the ashes. And that's how the Europa League draw panned out. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about, like, who's your favorite here. I want to know about like all the Belgian and the German fans as well, and the Dutch fans. What do you think about the chances of Feyenoord, Leverkusen, and Union Saint to basically go through and progress? Of course, for the Manchester United fan, it would have been a much easier draw. Like, if you look at it, if Manchester United had drawn Union Saint, that you know, the four teams could have drawn anyone, but then anything could have happened in this draw, and this is what has happened. Let me know in the comment section what do you think. Do share, do like us, and do subscribe, and I catch you in the next one.